Hello students, our today's topic is about the final keyword in Java. So far we have studied about two keywords, static and this. The static keyword, if you remember, we studied it as a static method or a static variable. Today we are going to learn about the keyword final. The final keyword can be used in several contexts. It can be used with a variable. A variable can be final, a method can be final, and at the end a class can be final. The final keyword works exactly like the constant keyword that you would have studied in your programming fundamentals course. Final variable. Final keyword can be used with a variable, and that variable will act like a constant variable. A final variable can have no value initially. It can be blank, but if you are going to assign it a value, that can only be done in the constructor. A blank final variable can also be static, but in order to initialize a static blank variable, you would have to use a static block. For example, you can have this example over here. I've got a static final integer variable, and in order to assign a value to a static variable, I use a static block. This slide here shows the use of final variable. Why we use final variable? It's actually very helpful. All you need to do is just give it a study. Just read out what I've written over here, and you will understand why final variables are important. Now, if we go towards the implementation of final variables, I've got a class here, a class of student. The student ID is a private final integer variable. Then I've got another data member of this class called student name, which is a string, and a CGPA, which is a private double. Student class has a constructor that accepts three parameters: student ID, student name, and CGPA from main function, and it assigns these values to the data members of the object. Now, if we go to the main function here, I'll just go through the whole program first, and then we'll see if we could change the value of this final variable or not. A main function has an array of object of student class. It has three objects here, and then I'm using the function called random in order to provide random numbers for student ID, random number for student GPA, and user will enter the name of the student here. So I'm asking user to enter three names, one for each object, and this random classes functions will provide random integer values for student ID, random double value for CGPA, and user will provide the student name. When the array is populated, all I'm doing is printing the array out. Let me just execute this program and see how it works. Okay, so program is asking me to enter student's name. I enter name of the student, first name, name of the first student, name of the second student, and name of the third student. and then it's displaying all the values it has saved for all the students here. Roll number 9, Mehvish. Roll number 9 was assigned to Mehvish, the first student, and the CGPA generated for Mehvish was 1.9. Clearly, she is hopeless. Roll number 77 was assigned to student number 2, Sarish, and her CGPA is rather fascinating, 3.9. And roll number 90 was assigned to Bushra, third student. She's a disaster as well, academically. So this is how this program is working. Now, all we want to do here is check if a final variable can be given a different value. So if we come to this method and I hit enter over here, what I want to do is I want to change the value of student ID. stdid equals, as soon as I write equals, say 80. Okay, it makes no sense, this line, but the only point is to tell you if you have assigned a value to a final variable once, you cannot change it. So what kind of the error is it giving me? It's saying that a final field, student or student ID, cannot be assigned. So you cannot assign any value to it once you've assigned a value to a final variable. So that's how final variables work. They are exactly like the constant variables. Once you've defined the value of it, you can never ever change it throughout the course of your program. Same is the case with same is the case with final methods and final classes. Let me just open up a program to demonstrate how final methods and final classes work. I hope you remember this program we had in our lecture of abstract classes and abstract functions. We've got a class shape. We have a take input method. We have a display method over here. Now, if I write final with a method, that method can never ever be overridden in any case. So we do remember that shape class had a function take input. This take input function was overridden by square. Here it is. Yeah. So what if I write I go to shape class, I write here public final void take input. So this means take input function is a final function. It can never be overridden at any point. So if I have a class square, it extends shape, then I can override override function take input. The error it will give you is multiple markers at this time, override shape dot take input, cannot override a final method from shape. So it's informing you that you can never ever override a final method. So let me just remove the keyword final from here. Now what happens if I write final with class final final class shape? If a class is final, it can never be inherited, it can never be extended. That's why I've suddenly got so many errors over here. I've got a class rectangle, a subclass, which extends shape, and since shape is a final now, the error that you will get is you cannot extend a final class shape. So this is pretty much everything about final keyword. How it works with a variable, how it works with method or the class. Um, it's these slides are pretty much saying everything that I've just